Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Hi, I'm Lynell Gordon, and welcome to How We Grow, the Vacation Rental Show. I have a very special guest with me today, Kellee Daugherty with Daugherty Management, and we're going to talk a little bit about growth. We're going to talk about when to give people breaks, and we're going to talk about seasonality and how to manage your seasonality. So Kellee, tell me a little bit about the beautiful area that you guys have a company with. And
so we have a vacation rental company in Sandpoint, Idaho. It's up in the panhandle of northern Idaho. We're about an hour away from Canada, so we're pretty far north.
wow.
We are a mountain and lake community. So Lake Ponderay is this massive lake. It's 43 miles long.
What feeds the lake? Out of curiosity.
Well, it mostly snow melt.
It's glacial, okay.
Yeah, it's glacial. Snow melt from Montana and also from Canada will come down and fill this massive lake up in the summer. And they lower it down 10 feet, 11 feet in the winter. That's a lot of water to lower down when you're 43 miles long.
Wow.
And so they make a great big basin for all that snow melt.
That's amazing. So people water ski there?
Yep, it's a big boating lake. So our peak season is summer.
Fishing?
Fishing, boating, wake surfing, water skiing.
Love all that.
Inner tubing, all of that kind of summer fun stuff. And a lot of people like to live on and around the lake in the summertime and go to different restaurants, and it's a huge 4th of July celebration there.
Oh, that's amazing. So you have a market that is about 3 months long.
In the summer.
Yeah. And the booking window there, because I think this is really important, your pacing there for your booking window is about a year out.
Yes. So our area will swell 4 to 5 times in population in the summer.
Wow.
So, and it's a small town.
So it's a tourist area for real, and the locals make money off the tourists?
Yeah, tourism is a huge industry for us.
All right.
And a lot of people will come for these large family reunion homes, which would be 4, 5, 6, 7 bedroom homes. Bring the entire family together, have a multi-generational family reunion. That's a big part of our market.
Do they do it each year? Come back every year?
They will do it each year, or they may go to different places.
Okay.
And they might try Sandpoint because they've heard about it, and then they might go to someplace else. And or we have a lot of affluent families that will come up, and a lot of people that will come from Southern California and or areas of the desert, Arizona, Texas, and New Mexico. It gets very, very hot in the summertime. They want to come someplace that's absolutely lovely, 85 degrees, maybe 90 degrees top, and come boating and have fun.
But it sounds like a beautiful area. You also have like a ski part to that too in the winter, right?
We do. So this is it's a resort town. It's a big mountain and lake town. So Schweitzer Mountain is the largest ski mountain in all of Idaho State, as well as Washington State nearby. Yeah. And it's a very large ski mountain, obviously, but so it draws people from all over to ski Schweitzer. So we have a winter season, starts around the Christmas time period, and we'll go to the second week of April.
That's beautiful. So with that area, with everyone that comes on the podcast, I like to ask a story about an owner and a story about a guest. So tell me, who's your favorite owner?
I have a favorite owner.
Tell me about them. You don't have to name them, of course.
I won't name them. This is a gentleman. I'm also a realtor, and so this is a gentleman that I helped him to find a home. He was looking for a lake home, and we ended up chatting one day, and he flew up to see a home that was for sale, and he bought the home, literally just by looking in the windows. Right, he hadn't even walked it. And he's just an extremely gracious and generous person, and so he's a really kind heart. And so he's always said he's been a homeowner of mine for 7 years, and our company's grown a lot in the last 7 years. And he said, if there's anything that if you need to use my home to, even if it's no cost, if you need to host somebody here or do something for your business or do as a charity or anything like that, please know that you can always do that.
That's kind.
And then also he's like, I trust you guys completely, and so you have my full blessing and latitude for any changes or recommendations or things that you think that the home may need.
Oh, okay.
just go ahead and do it. And so he's very thoughtful that way. But then the other part is it really shows, like in the holiday season, he'll send very generous gift cards to the staff and just a kind note and just thanking them, like just acknowledging
That is a
them
great idea.
that I really appreciate the care of taking care of my home.
Aww.
And I appreciate y'all so much. And so he'll take the time to do that. And that's a very thoughtful and very gracious thing to do.
I'll have to remember that. That is a very good thing, and I should probably be doing that for my sister, to tell you the truth. So there's a good thing there. Tell me a guest story.
So many guest stories. So this is it's kind of a personal story, but it's probably my favorite guest story.
Oh, good.
So every couple of years, we like to do a family reunion on my husband's side of the family.
Uh-huh.
Many of the family members are in the Madison, Wisconsin area and New York area. And so they're coming a long ways to get to Sandpoint, Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
And my nephew, who has since passed, but my nephew is a major wakeboarder. And he just loved to wakeboard. This was his favorite thing in the world. But my brother-in-law was also having a milestone birthday. And so we decided to spoil him, and we brought in this float plane. And the float plane came in and landed right in front of the house. One of the houses we were renting, we had to rent 3 houses to take care of everybody. And we took him and his sons and his daughter up, and they did this amazing tour.
Oh, that is
just
beautiful.
Absolutely incredible. And then that plane would land and take the next group up. And so my nephew said, "Hey, is there any way? Do you think that guy would kind of pretend to take me wakeboarding behind this float plane?" And we're like, "We'll ask him." And the guy goes, "Sure." And so we jumped in the boat with our cameras because we wanted to capture the whole thing. And so the guy gets in the plane, he's on the lake, and my nephew gets up wakeboarding. Now, of course, the plane's not going to take off or anything like that, but it appears like he's going to be taking off. And there's my nephew wakeboarding behind this float plane, which is super cool. Yes. And then while I'm trying to take pictures of the whole thing, my phone is just blowing up because my neighbors all around me are like, "Are you seeing this? Can you see this?" So it's fun.
So they're calling saying, "Don't let him do it, don't do it."
They're just like, "What is going on?"
So you've said that you've had a lot of growth.
Yes.
In the last 7 years.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we started as a boutique company with a home that my husband and I built.
Oh, wow.
And we have 80 vacation homes now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge growth.
Yeah.
Tell me, for those that are listening that are looking for suggestions or help, and they're like, what would you give them as far as advice? What is the best advice you can give them for how to grow their company?
Boy, know what your core competencies are.
Okay.
So know what your strengths are, and honor the strengths. Okay. And I'll give you an example. I love marketing, and I love creativity, and I'm very good with sales, and I'm good with people. I don't care for the accounting side as much, but obviously that's extremely important, especially as a small business owner. But I know what my core strengths are.
Right.
And so I honor those, and I focus on that. And then I know that to make my team more successful, I better bring somebody in that's good on the financial side.
Right.
And that's their core competency and their passion, because I don't have to worry about that as much, right?
Right.
Per se, or spend a lot of cycles on something that I'm not very good or very efficient at. And but I think it's important to think about that. And then when you're thinking about hiring people, hire to fill your weaknesses so that you can successfully be a complete company.
That's interesting because that is just good plain business advice. We heard one of the CEOs of a company talking, and last night, that's specifically what she said. She said, "I don't think any of you guys who are entrepreneurs who started your company say, 'Gosh, please don't take the accounting away from me,'" specifically. And it's true. Those of us that are more people persons, we really do need that. And so having a strong team and building a strong team has got to be important. What about, tell me how you built your company as far as owners. Did you do these owner push campaigns to email everybody out and say, "Okay, hey, everybody who owns a company in this area, we are the best company in the area because XYZ. Did you do any of that?
I didn't.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. So I took a little bit of a different approach. When we started the company, my family was younger, so I still had 3 children at home, and none of them were driving. So I still needed some flexibility. And
hence being in real estate to start with, that flexibility is there for real estate.
That helps.
Being a realtor,
but I also liked having sort of what I would call a boutique company, and we focused on higher end homes and quality homes, and I liked that. And so what I focused on was the results. So what I would do is when I would talk to people around in my small town, or my neighbors, and then when I'd say, hey, we generated $100,000 worth of revenue off this home, and then I'd have people go, well, gosh, I'm from Arizona and I only use my home 6 weeks out of the year.
Right.
You know, they start to do a little bit of the math, and they start to think about how that could help pay their property taxes or ongoing maintenance or whatever it might be. And so word of mouth helped a lot. And then I also, this is back in 2009, 2010, 2011. I mean, these are, there's hard times after the Great Recession.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Right, and a lot of property values were down.
Right.
But we didn't have any really big hotels or resorts, so vacation rentals were starting to grow. And so I went and looked at who were the top realtors in town, and I had lunch with them. And I met with them and I said, hey, just here's who I am, here's what I do. I'm focusing on the high end, but here's what I'm generating in revenue for this property that's listed.
Yeah.
You might have a property that's listed that isn't selling, and I'm actually making this asset create some revenue, it'll pay for itself. And that helped.
That's a great idea. I wondered if your real estate background had anything that was like,
well, this was before I was a realtor.
Really?
Oh yeah, I was just like
and you couldn't even pay the commission at the time.
No, and I couldn't accept it even if
exactly legally. No.
I got my real estate license later because when I would see turnover and refer for sales, I would refer out and couldn't get a referral fee.
Right.
So at first I started doing that, and then secondarily now I'm good at sales.
I love real estate sales. I'm a real estate agent too. I'm a broker. I love real estate sales. It was one of my favorite jobs ever. I took a hiatus from the software company that I owned and I was running with a co-founder, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break, and I loved it.
Built by property managers for property managers, Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors, improving flow by logging into a single system and reducing redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center, reservations quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com.
So let's talk about something else that you mentioned to me that I found fascinating. You talked about making sure that you give your people breaks. Tell me how that has helped you be successful.
Well, anybody that works I think in anything these days, because we have the ability to work all the time between our technology and our text messages and our
and if we didn't know before the pandemic, we certainly knew after the pandemic.
Yeah, it's challenging. But then when you have small businesses with high seasonality, everybody's on, and you're
24/7.
You're hoping nobody gets sick or hurt or anything, because you don't have the bandwidth to fill in.
Right.
You don't have enough labor, especially now. So at the end of the peak season, I always really encourage people to start planning holidays and vacations and time when there's still good weather.
How much time do you give them?
For my managers, I do 3 paid weeks a year, and then we try to do extra things. We give summer bonuses, we give cash bonuses in the summertime, at the end of the busy season, right after Labor Day, and then around the holidays as well, as just thank yous for working so hard. And then for our full-time employees, we also provide paid vacations, and we also provide full medical for anybody who's working 30 hours a week or more, because we really want people to feel cared for and, have a sustainable life, if you will. You don't want people to get wiped out because they got sick.
No, and the thing that I find interesting is you begin to interview people that are very successful in this field. A lot of times, and you guys, I've heard this more than a dozen times, people that take care of their people, they really do. They end up being successful because they don't have the turnover. And it takes so much time to train a new employee, not just on software, but just in how to be a reservationist, how to deal with guest and customer support if you have to do whatever. It's just like,
we're small companies, and it's very, I liken it to being a small startup. You wear multiple hats, everybody has to pitch in to kind of make it happen. And there are challenges. The problems we had last summer are different than the problems we had this summer. The good news is we solved those problems, but now we have these problems to solve. So you're always kind of evolving and changing, and you need to have that attitude and be able to work together. But I agree, if you don't find the right people or whatever, you're spending a lot of time in training and trying to figure out how to integrate.
So you mentioned you were doing high-end homes. So with 80 properties, how do you keep that boutique atmosphere of having high-end properties with that many property owners?
Well, you can't really. What we do is we try to tier our properties. And so we have a luxury tier property that's sort of the creme de la creme.
Yes.
And they are very high-end properties. They're $3 to $7 million homes. And in our little market, that's a big deal.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are huge.
So on those homes in the summertime, we do a concierge check-in. So we work with the guest and we say, you'd like to stop by and introduce yourselves. Many times it's me.
Oh, that's lovely.
And many times it's the same guest returning year after year, or 5 of the last 8 years, that type of thing, they'll come back. And then it helps us to give kind of a personal touch, to welcome everybody, to answer questions. Right. But then we can also go through the home or go through the area, explain where they are on the lake, how to use the boat lift, all of those things. So we do that there. And then there are other homes that are maybe the next tier down, but there might be something unique about them. And so we'll create special CRM messages that will be specific to that house and specific to that guest. And we have home handbooks that talk about that, or about what's going on in the area, and make recommendations.
Do you email that or do you text it?
We both.
Okay. Are they automated? I'm just curious.
Both. So we have some that are automated. Some are a little bit more specific, like because we were on this big mountainous area, like there's a home that we manage that it's really hard and challenging to get down there. Oh. Right. And so that's kind of unique. So we want to make sure we don't have more than a couple cars down there.
Gotcha.
So those ones, we kind of get ahead of that a little bit because it's a little hard to explain. So we get ahead of the guests and call those guests ahead of time.
So you've tiered your properties. And you know what? I found that that's successful too. We have companies that do that because there is a need for lower end homes. There always will be that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For like what we call on our beach boxes.
Yeah, and I would say we have 2 and 3 bedroom condos. We have a small private condominium community in town that we manage some condos there, and then some smaller 2 bedroom homes in town. But most of our properties are in that 3-star to 5-star range. So our tiers are kind of within our star system.
I think I need to come visit. Those 4-star properties are just calling my name. Tell me about your favorite marketing technique for off-season, for those shoulder seasons in between summer. And because if you have that summer and you have that winter, you have to have an incredibly beautiful fall.
We have a really beautiful fall, which is right about now through about the middle of October.
But it's still a shoulder season.
It is.
Okay.
It is. What they do is, because we're in this big lake, they drop the lake level. They start to drop it down the 3rd week of September.
Okay.
So that starts to affect your power boating and all that kind of
course,
stuff.
you've got seasonality.
So we've got that. Also, for a lot of people, September is very busy anyways. Families start to go back to school. Everybody's kind of getting back into more of a work schedule or whatever. But in those kind of off-season timeframes, we have Spokane, Washington is about an hour and a half away, and Spokane is the 3rd largest city in the state of Washington. It's a big city. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, a lot of people have heard about that. That also has a beautiful lake, but that's also close to us as well. So a lot of things that we'll do is we'll start to target kind of your local getaways. So we'll do book clubs.
Spokane.
Yeah, Spokane, yeah. So we'll do book clubs and, girls getaway groups, things like that, church retreats, things of that nature, to kind of say, hey guys, come on in for a beautiful long weekend, and get a super discounted price and have an amazing time.
What tech do you use for marketing?
Well, a lot of times I will just start to target the guests that are local, or we can talk on Facebook a little bit and promote things that way. But there's many groups that have come in just networking. My husband and I have a home in Spokane, Washington, as well as a home in Sandpoint. Again, we're about an hour and a half apart. So, and we've been in these communities for a long time, so we know a lot of people.
So you're involved in the community. You guys have heard that over and over, so don't forget that.
So when I'm in my book club in Spokane, I let it be known, hey guys, if you and your friends, you and your girlfriends want to get together, you guys should come on up. Come stay at the Seasons, come do this, whatever, And then I offer friends and family discounts, and I remarket to the same group. We have a group of ICU nurses. They're actually for Sacred Heart Children's Hospital. And so they're pediatric ICU nurses. And there's a group of 15 of them. And they come and stay with us every September and every March.
Wow.
And so, the group will maybe come and go a little bit as far as the members of it, but it's usually about 15 of them, and they come like clockwork.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about marketing there in that piece. For your winter season, do you find that you market your winter season different than your summer season, or to differently in any way?
Well, it's
that's a long season.
It is, but it's less expensive to come in the winter than it is in the summer.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because we have, again, 4 to 5 times the people that come in the summer.
Okay.
So it's a huge swell. And in the winter time, that's a haul to get to Sandpoint, right?
Okay.
So, and if you're coming for skiing, you're often not coming for a week or 10 days or whatever it might be at the time.
Oh, you might be coming just for a couple of days to ski.
Yeah, you might be coming for weekends, or the kids are out of school, so you ski for the weekends or long weekends or whatever it might be. So it's a shorter stays, shorter occupancy, and it's darker and colder, right? And so we sort of huddle in and get quiet a little bit more. And so while it's still popular, it tends to draw a little bit more locally, not always. But
is there ice skating on the lake?
Well, there can be. So on the shallow parts of the lake, and this is a very big lake, and so on the shallow parts of the lake,
3 miles, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the deepest part of the lake is over 1,200 feet deep. So it's a very,
That's right.
It will never ever freeze.
Deepest in the.
Yeah. So, but on the shallow parts, it does freeze there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I really have enjoyed having you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to share some of the strategies that you use, and just to share your love, your passion.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
This episode of How We Grow was brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can help grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.